All right, everybody. What we're talking about here, obviously, is that there's been chatter of sanctions potentially facing Tucker Carlson, not because it seems to me anyone has actually said they were going to do that, but somebody told Newsweek, this is Politico trying to
Mhm.
tell you they've got the fact check on it, that he's not being sanctioned yet. Newsweek was the one who originally said they had the exclusive that he could face sanctions over Putin
Mhm.
interview, but that really was just asking around some, EU leaders like this Guy Verhofstadt, a former Belgian prime minister and current member of the European Parliament, told Newsweek that Carlson's work in Russia could see him in hot water, and that he's saying as Putin is a war criminal and the EU sanctions all who assist him in that effort, it seems logical the External Action Service examine his case as well. So it's kind of unclear if this is going to happen or not. But then anyway, that's set off like a whole firestorm about it. Bill, just giving everyone a heads up: if you're not a supporter, you're watching this somewhere like Rumble, you do not get the full show. If you're watching on Locals, it's going to cut unless you're on the editorial board. This is a show we do in its entirety only for people who are supporters. So thank you for your generosity. What should we start with, Bill?
Well, I guess the first thing, my hot take, I'm going to save that for our subscribers. But the first EU sanctions against Tucker Carlson for what? I mean, what are they going to do to him? Unless he's landing on European soil somewhere, I guess I would need more of a definition of what EU sanctions against Tucker Carlson are. Are they going to block his content from being broadcast either on the internet or via the airwaves in Europe? And if so, well, God bless you, Europe. Thank God we have the First Amendment here. So, what do those sanctions look like? I mean, when you talk about sanctions, you're talking about, the Western companies that left Russia, but then really they didn't, and they were supposed to cripple their economy and they didn't. So, is the European Union going to try to cripple Tucker Carlson the way they tried to cripple Russell Brand? I mean, come on. When it comes to Europe, they have no clue what they're doing in relation to journalism. That's first and foremost, because they've been trying to suppress all the farmers' protests over there. Okay, in France and other certain places. So they have no idea what it means to be journalism, or to have journalism in Europe, a free press, by the way. Now, when it comes to the actual Tucker Carlson interview itself, I'll save my take on that, Allison, because I've got something I really want to know. And, one specific thing when it comes to this interview with Vladimir Putin. But what do you make of it? Do you think that the European Union can do you have a clue on how they could sanction an American journalist, I guess?
Okay. Yeah, here's an idea. They would say the Tucker network cannot broadcast in Europe. I could see them doing something like that. What do you think about that?
Whoa.
Well, like Rumble just wrote us creators and said, I think it's Brazil. They pulled out of Brazil because Brazil's government was asking them to yank probably Glenn Greenwald off.
Right.
I don't know who, it was somebody that they wanted taken off of Rumble, and at least that's what Rumble said. And so they decided they're not going to be in Brazil anymore because they're not going to comply. So I could see something like that. Now, the person who suggested this, who's on the editorial board over on Locals, AllisonMorrow.locals.com, again, join the editorial board, $5 a month. You put questions in ahead of time for interviews, and you get to this show in its entirety and everything. He said, maybe it's a thing like a lot of people felt this way kind of about Alex Jones, that a big name is put in a position to enact a precedent, but ultimately will probably not face the consequences, but those like us will face the consequences. So there could be something like this is all chatter to crack down on speech, but ultimately Tucker probably has the power to eke by, whereas the rules will have to be followed by people like me, for instance. And I think that's a fair thing question. Like even if, say, this does actually happen, like, is Tucker going to be worse for the wear or not? But that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't have potentially damaging consequences for those of us who don't have the platform that
Right.
Tucker does. But like that would be something I could see them, or maybe gets on a no-fly list or something, or he
I,
can't
I
fly
would
first
I would
class.
I would
I don't know.
surmise that not necessarily the platform that Tucker has, but the money that Tucker has. Tucker, in this particular case, I'm going to use a comparison to J.K. Rowling. Okay, I know the mass woke mob wants to cancel J.K. Rowling. You can't. She's uncancelable. She's already made her money. Okay, Tucker Carlson, same thing. He's made his money. I mean, he's using his money to start his own thing. Okay, so he's uncancelable or cancelable. So I mean, yeah, they can block his content from coming into the European Union, but let's be honest, folks. If the internet has taught us anything, it's that where there's a will, there's a way. If I want to see Tucker, like VPNs don't exist in Europe. Okay, come on, guys. That it's just the European Union rattling their saber, saying rah, 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 rah. They're doing the Grandpa Simpson thing. Rah, 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 rah. So that's really all it is, in my opinion.
I I think that it's worth also pointing out, this editorial board member also said this too, like, you don't necessarily have to be like a Tucker fan or a Putin fan to be curious about the situation. And I think, unfortunately, it's easy when it's a Putin and a Tucker for the opposite side, like the Brian Stelter. We
Mhm.
all know Don Lemon is now a First Amendment guy. All of a sudden, he's on board, right? We did that video a
Yeah,
few weeks ago. He wears a shirt about the First Amendment in his Twitter profile, so we don't have to worry about him. But like, say
way to go, Don.
some of the other CNN types who are really, really about misinformation online and cracking down on misinformation. And I could see them not really caring so much about this because of what Tucker represents or what Putin represents in the political storm. In the same way, maybe those of us on the outside say Brian Stelter goes and interviews Fauci, and we're like,
Mhm.
oh, that's going to be a real tough interview, you know.
Right.
So I don't think for the people who are aren't already, I guess, aligned with the way that Tucker is trying to explain the situation between Russia and Ukraine, people that aren't already aligned with his worldview on it are really
Mhm.
not going to care about this particular situation. And that's why I think Politico, though they ran with the story because it's getting a lot of clicks, they ran with the
Right.
story because it's getting a lot of clicks.
Mhm.
Uh, I I think they're using it as an opportunity to be like, come on, this is just another thing people are freaking out about that they don't need to be freaking out about,
Yeah.
and trying to sort of run interference for that. That's kind of my opinion. I have my hot take too. I'm going to also save it, but I want to let everybody know you can send me some real mail in case I get sanctioned for interviewing Bill sometime. The American government cracks down on me for having Bill on, then the only way you're going to be able to reach me is through, well, I don't know if the postal service will work for me anymore, but address it to Allison Moron, and then it'll probably get to me. Okay, don't use
Yeah,
Allison Moron.
send it to Allison Morrow, new hair, who dis.
Yeah, exactly. Short hair Morrow. Or use two L's and they'll never figure it out. Use two L's and they'll never figure it out. P.O. Box 3355, Denellen, Florida 34432. Love hearing from everybody. Thanks for the support. Those who already send me support that way. You can also go to AllisonWinePromo.com. Get yourself some extremist altitude wine, 6 to 9,000 feet. It's for the extremist that doesn't want to go to federal prison, the person who hasn't left their grandma's basement yet today, hasn't brushed their teeth, still wear their flannel jammies while playing video games, but you still want to participate in the
You got a
extremism
camera
of
in my
today.
office?
Bill's got some Allison Wine promo under the desk, ready for his podcast, which goes live in just a couple hours. AllisonWinePromo.com, 50% off my favorite Malbecs from Argentina and 50% off shipping. It's a great way to support the work. And don't forget, also, we've got links in the description and pinned comments for all the other products that are great. If you go to greenpasture.org and use Allison10 as your checkout promo code, you get all kinds of health supplements and food grade stuff like cod liver oil and chest rub, muscle rub, just great stuff there. Go to twinenginecoffee.com/Allison and get some USDA certified organic coffee, light roast, dark roast. There's also Katura tea. That's the fruit from the coffee bean. It's really great to cold brew. So all kinds of good stuff there. Going back over to locals, any guess what the number of views will be for tonight's interview? Oh, is it
Ooh,
coming out tonight?
I guess it is tonight.
Okay.
If I had to put an over under on it during the live, I
It
would
shuts
say,
down Twitter. That's what I guess. It shuts
okay.
down Twitter.
Yeah. If it's just on Twitter, I would guess the over under is going to be 300,000 views live at any one particular time. Now, once the interview airs in its entirety, I think it will blow up. I think the numbers will be close to when they aired What is a Woman from the Daily Wire. I get those numbers. It's going to be up there, but I don't think it'll crack that ceiling. But as far as actual live views, this probably is going to be the most viewed live content that X/Twitter has ever had. Anywhere from 275 to 300,000 live viewers at any particular time. That's my take.
It's just 30 minutes before Smokes and Road Beers tonight, which
Oh
is Bill's podcast.
no. No, damn
So
you, Tucker. Damn you.
well, maybe everybody will be on their screen time and ready to switch over to your show. So just everybody make sure before we cut the stream for
Well,
Smokes
he's
and Road.
interviewing one of the strongest political leaders in the world. We're interviewing someone who escaped a cult. So, well, it could be one the
Well,
same.
that could be similar. So anyway, all right, everybody. Thanks for watching on Rumble. Bill and I are going to give our hot takes for supporters only. Really appreciate everybody. We will see you next time.